The main season is over, and now the real fight begins. Our top 15 reset and face off to decide the true champion. And what better place to start that battle than the bull ring of Slinger Speedway? Let's let them rip as we get ready to watch round 14 of the Misfit Touring Series. And you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Jake Sperry. Behind the scenes is our director, DJ Lyon. Jake, I have been looking forward to this one on the schedule. I love short track racing, but this place is one of the tiniest available on iRacing. And as we can see, it is going to really put them up against it with it starting the new round of the championship.
Look, it's a showdown. This Triple Crown is big. Slinger, Bristol, Martinsville. You can't ask for anything better of a 3-week finish to a season, and this, the place of places to get it done. The world's fastest quarter miler. This is the track which Matt Kenseth made his home. More recently, William Byron. More recently, Ty Majeski. Welcome to Slinger, Wisconsin. Joe, this is where 33 degrees of banking on this quarter miler makes this a truly unique spectacle.
You could call it a bowl, but I think it'll be more accurately described as a blender tonight. High speeds around tight and steep banking at a quarter mile. So it is a track that is going to chew up cars and spit them out, but survival will definitely be key as we take a look at our format. And we're going to have 15-lap heat races with the top 7 advancing. Then we will have 13-lap last chance qualifying, which does look like I see about 23 cars that have signed in right now. So it looks like we will have to have that one. Top 2 of that race will advance. And then, of course, a 200-lap feature. Then we'll zip around this thing very quickly. The championship, as we mentioned, will reset. And now, of course, we got the Triple Crown. This is an unforgiving track, so you need to try and make sure, put yourself on the board for tonight. So make sure and stay out of trouble. And then it's a long race, so look out to try and be there at the finish after those 200 laps tonight, as we're just getting ready to start racing soon. But Jake, why don't you walk us through what's involved in this late model stock?
Well, this is a 500 plus brake horsepower, naturally aspirated V8 engine. It is a true monster to put around here, and they do have that 4-gear H pattern that they're dealing with. Front engine, rear wheel drive, as it should be. But this is going to be about having to navigate through, trying to put as much you can. You're in the shorter gear ratios here, only heading up to about 130 mile an hour, maybe tops, maybe a little bit less than that. It's a heavy machinery. It's got 3,100 pounds, or to put it into my measurement, about 1,400 kilograms. And it's pretty long as well here today, 90 inches in width by wheelbase, 105 inches. You've got a lot to work with. This you can normally drive on iRacing on the late cars tour. This is one where you don't have to be late here in terms of winning it at Slinger Speedway. You've got to be early.
And here's a little bit more information about that Triple Crown, of course. You can see, as was mentioned, Slinger, Bristol, and Martinsville are going to be the tracks, and it's going to be 3 very quick and frantic weeks to try and sort this all out as everybody is basically reset on the points, and now it's kind of a reverse of what you usually expect. You want the fewest points possible. First will be awarded 1 point, and so on down the fields with 1 more point for each car on down. So kind of golf rules, if you will, for this one. Does look like they're getting ready to start with the qualifying, as they usually do. 2 laps to try and set your quickest. They're going to be sent out one by one, Jake. So you better be ready to go when they call your name.
It's all about finding that fastest time, and knowing that you're first out on circuit means you are the benchmark. You just have to go out and put the best time available on the board. I would say advantage to those later on in the session here, Joe. They'll know what the yardstick is, they'll know what they'll have to beat, and they will go out and try and put as much as they can physically on the table. So that's where their main focus is going to lie. But we've got our first driver out here. It's Alex Kogan, who is then going to make the first real effort in terms of laps, and we'll see what he's available to do as he's gearing up. He's already on his first of 3.
And in fact, this is his first time racing in the Misfits Touring Series. Has shown up, and is their first European to take part in the championship. So we'll see how he fares in that number 47. Looks like second lap going to be an 11.140 to set the time for everybody. Now, they do have 3 laps to count, and I'm not sure. Well, I guess they're going to let him take this last one as well. So 11.083 will be his lap that everybody is now trying to match.
Yeah, Jake Grout will be the next driver out then in the 49, looking to run the high line then through the early stages, trying to build up that momentum for that final lap. That's where the crucial lap is going to lie. 11.8 then on that run through, and you're often threading yourself on forward. It's like running a super speedway, but you shrunk the track down. It's very much like the WLC match in the WWE, making that push for the line. 11.14. That's only going to be good enough for second at the moment, but we saw in times in practice he did a 10.8, so not exactly what he wanted, but that final lap improved. 11.066.
Yep, so looks like that first time lap is going to be everybody's warm-up lap, so they're allowing them the final 2 to try and set their time. Grout now on the provisional pole, as the next one out here is going to be Kyle Terzak. And as he comes across the line for his first time lap, 11.305. That's a little slow compared to what we saw from the others. He's going to need to pick it up in that number 51. He'll come around 3 and 4, cross the timing beam, and it's a 10.976. That'll do it. The first driver to break under 11 seconds.
That's a crucial barrier that's broken then in the early stages. So Kyle Terzak making sure that that was as solid as needs be. We are getting that look now. It's the 57 who will be next on the progress. It's Alex Hallinar who is now looking to put those opening laps in. 11.3 looking to gear it up. And it's a rotation game where it's going to be who wins this qualifying, Joe. It's going to be about who gets enough turn in the middle of the corner without scrubbing that speed.
Looks like first time lap goes to an 11.208. That's a pretty good sign. What's the next one going to be? Exactly the same to a thousandth of a second, 11.208. That's not quick, unfortunately, but impressive that he was that consistent. Hallinar moves himself to 4th at the highest.
Yeah, he does. So in terms of where he's looking at, might be a long day for him. but it's going to be about questions asked. If you don't get a good qualifying here, your night's going to be a long one. That's the last thing that anyone wants to do, have to work through the lefts, the rights, the ups, the downs. William Littergott is next then, the number 71. 11-2 to put that through and straight back into the pits there. So definitely didn't get what was wanted on that final lap. Now, that's going to be something you got to keep an eye out on here, Joe, because you make one small tap with the barriers, you get that 0x instant point that pops up on your screen. That's it. Doesn't matter if you've got a 0x or not. Lap won't count. Michael Weissman next.
Yeah, you make a good point. Drivers are going to have to use up as much of the track as possible, so we could see a number of laps deleted here through the qualifying, right up to the outside of the backstretch there for the number 74, but it stays clean, and he goes to a 10-9. First driver to break 11 on only his first time lap. So what's the next one going to be? Can he extend it even further? No, he is going to come down, and not like how that last one has gone. We go to the number 78 after that.
Jeremiah Rychecki next up on the hit list there. That was looking really good for Michael Weissman. That second lap absolutely opened it up, but ultimately wasn't quite ideal. 11-3 to get the lubricant going there in the car, but for Rychecki, it's about building this up more and more. Where can you find it? And the answer is that's an 11-0. Good enough then to go third fastest. What can this final lap find? Pushing itself through then and getting again down low. That will do that then. So only goes third fastest with that time.
So 11 flat for him. And looks like we're trying to find out if it's the first two laps then that they meant to count and the other drivers just didn't realize, but we're checking out Jake Sylvia now. He has been the dominant force so far this season. So let's see, as the 12.9 for the first lap is not going to be that quick. Second lap going to be 11.355. That's also not very quick for the driver that has won so many races so far. Will he take the last flying one, or is it going to do what the others have? He is still pushing. 10.876. Yes, he's pushing.
Well, he was taking those two laps to really get those tyres into play. Now, you can choose to either go after one or two. I think this comes down to a wear feel that you've got out there. Bradley Stefan is going to be next up then, and this is going to be the key. You are basically playing the game of how much heat can you put into your tyres to get them into an operating window to go out there and really sling it around this Slinger Speedway. Stefan, 10.942, third fastest. He'll be happy with that.
That'll put him into third, so that should, as long as not too many people out-qualify him, should get him up and through automatically into the feature. Remember, it's not going to be heats for everybody. It's just for those that weren't among the top qualifiers to try and decide their starting position. What about Calabro now in the number 91? He'll come across with an 11.9 first time.
Yeah, so this is, again, this case of just trying to bring it all together, put the pieces in, and get that lap time in that is so, so wonderful here, making that push. 11.044, the 11.0 bracket starting to get a little bit congested, and then that push around for that final lap does improve further. It's a 10.998, it's fifth fastest there, and the high end of the 10s is going to be one that's going to be battling 10.9 low. I think it's going to be the aim of the game. Sean Urich next.
I think you're right. So if you're not under that 11-second mark, you're probably not going to be in the front runners here. This is Sean Urich. I did get confirmation from race control that it is the last two laps that count. So we can disregard that first one. 10.965 for Sean Urich. That's a good sign on his first time. Slides it out of the corner, though, and that slows him down. He's not going to be quicker on the next one through.
Look, everyone's trying to take 105% out to that final lap, Joe, and this is where you're going to get the difference. If drivers are pushing a little bit too hard through certain sections of this track, they are going to have this track bite back because you're always going to be squirrely trying to put all of those 500 horses through into the stable. It's looking good at the moment for Tyler Muller as he looks to put his first time down on 10.835. Just like that, he goes to the point. Number one P1.
Wow, that was impressive out of Tyler. We know he's been the one challenging Jake, but that last lap doesn't count. Didn't need it anyways. We'll see if he will by the end of qualifying as to who can top that 10.835, but massively impressive run out of the number one machine. Deegan Smith is now trundling out. Alex Grates, I should say here, that we see on the track in the 9.
Yep, so that is a brand new margin setter that is there from Tyler Muller, and he would have used Jake Sylvia's time, the GOAT, as he self-proclaims himself there, the 88, but this is where drivers are looking around going, oh, that's my time? Well, I can push a little bit more. 11.4 on that second lap there from Grates. He's going to need a little bit more here if he really wants to make it out there. He's the 9 in sim, the 90 on the side of the car, and up into the barriers. That is a hefty mistake on a final lap that he desperately needed.
That'll make him last of the qualifying times thus far. The 15 now is actually out. Deegan Smith on the circuit and staying high here on that first time around to try and launch out of it, get himself what little hundredths of a second he can as the car wiggles a little bit through 1 and 2. The 15, he didn't like that one, so he's going to go high again, try and set up lap number 3.
Yeah, and that's the key. You're trying to build momentum, and every time you can take that high line, you can drop and use gravity with you. Little bit of smoke there, sliding it into the corner there, so it was really trying to pivot something out. Deegan Smith third fastest with that one with a 10.912, and you feel that slight bit of scrubbing may have cost a little bit of time out there. 1 on the car, 16 is the number Brett McCoy is looking to play.
Yeah, so if you see that number 1, you can disregard that as that being the 1 car. McCoy is racing under officially the number 16. His first timed lap comes out at a 10.912. What can he cut it down to here on the next time around, as that'll put him into 4th for the first timed lap. Second one gonna be a 11.301, much slower. So second lap was the money lap. Still, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he got cramped there on that final lap, up against the wall on the exit, so had to get off of the power. Thomas Earlywine then is going to be next, trying to find that lap. And crucially there for Deegan Smith, it's the numbers that we couldn't see that keeps him in third position with Brett McCoy, a 10.912 for the pair of them. So the 10,000ths needing to decide a couple of times out there. 12.0 then from Thomas Earlywine then on the initial warm-up. But this first lap, the first key, 11.6. This has to be the big one for car 17.
Yeah, that 11.6 is not going to cut it whatsoever. He'll come back around to the line, gets an 11.3, not that great of an improvement. Still only 15th, unfortunately. So send him towards the back of the field and get ready for the heats. Tyler Vinitek is, I think, perhaps the next one, or is it the number 34 of Charlie Bates, it looks like?
Yep, there are drivers then all looking just to be patient and say, you know what, this is our time, we can go. But it looks like there's a little bit of a lull at this moment. Everybody waiting for the calls to go, to get out there, to get out on circuit, and that's often what you get. It's the 18 here of Jared Shell who will be the one who will be back out then and trying to get that sorted, and maybe even for just a little bit of this circuit, trying to get a little bit of cool going through. They're in a constant track condition at the moment, so this isn't dynamic weather they're dealing with in qualifying, Joe. This is 7 a.m. in the morning, 21 degrees Celsius track, so you're not talking about very much in terms of Fahrenheit at all. And in terms of putting those lap times together, you want that track to cool just a little bit to get you in the best position. That wall hit will cost the final lap.
Does not count, unfortunately. That means we're automatically over to Tyler Vincetek, and he is going to be trying to see what he can put down out of turn 4, but he brushes the wall. He needs this next one, otherwise he's going to be at the very back as the 21 car swings it around, and he slides it off of 4, and 11.3 will leave him disappointed.
It'll leave him disappointed and disillusioned. That was not what the doctor was ordering there, and it could have so easily have been so much more in terms of that time. Kyle Adams now will go out there and take his laps, and he's looking for a little bit of momentum here to start things off in the Triple Crown, this first of 3 legs that they've got here at Slinger Speedway. This is going to give you a big idea of how much they're having to push. They're really trying to ride up the banking, but make as minimal turn as possible. Use that banking essentially to try and straighten out the car. 10.942 to start. He is absolutely on one.
That'll put him into 6, but what about the second lap? If he can improve, he could keep himself within the top running. 10.876. That is front row stuff from the 24. That is absolutely going to make him safe into the feature.
Well, he is as safe as houses at the moment. Jake Silvio dropped back onto the second row. Keegan Bush will now be looking to try and make his progress here and jump up forward. 11.1 on that first run through, and that would have been on essentially a sighter. So he's definitely got something there. He's definitely wanting to run 11.069. He's just shaving off the thousandths of a second here. If he can jump up to about Sean Urich, Carl Tershak, he'll be very happy with the work that he's done in qualifying. 11.030. He'll get one more place over Jake Grout, and that'll put him essentially mid-pack.
Yep, into 12th. That's perhaps the most consistent qualifying laps we've seen out of anybody. In fact, for all 3 of them. But Charlie Bates, next one up in the number 34. Now sends it through 1 and 2. The car complains off the turn, does not like the grip. Once again, looks a little loose through 3 and 4 as well. 11.207. Not great, but not horrible.
He's got it hooked up off the exits. The moment he re-engages power, he's looking really good here as Charlie Bates. 11.084 there on that final lap, though. That's not going to be ideal. That's going to put him right down in the latter stages. Just two or three left out there. Jaden Dahlberg is one. Then you've got Casey Beattie and Hunter Gaines, who are out there yet to set a lap at this moment. But Dahlberg is looking for something nice here. 11.090 on the opening foray on the side. Is nice, but what will be twice as nice? Jumping up a half dozen positions, why not? 10.964, he's finding some good pace.
That'll put him into 8th. I do believe, according to Race Control, this is going to be the last car to qualify, though, so might not see Hunter or Casey. Not an improvement, although it was very close, 0.03 of a second off of his best time there for Jaden. So that is it for all of them, and everybody has their time set. Now, remember, the format is the lower cars will have to try and race in this heat race to decide who automatically goes to the feature from here and who has to go to the last chance qualifier. If it is only those 22 cars, then that means only one driver is going to get the cut, which is going to be painful. Let's go through the starting order. Michael Weissman is going to be on pole for this heat as Jaden Dahlberg starts from 2nd. Kyle Terjak is going to be in the 3rd as Jeremiah Rychecki rounds out row 2. Jake Grout, good enough for 5th as Charlie Bates will start next to him, P6. Alex Hallinar 7th, and Tyler Vinstic in the 8th position. Alex Grates then rounds out our 9-car field. Lined up, ready to go. I am excited for this one. My first race to call here at Slinger, Jake.
Look, this is an incredible circuit, and once the racing really kicks up, you can't really ask for too much more than this track at this time, everyone putting it all together. One thing to be noted, though, you can build great momentum out of these heats into, say, a consolation, into the racing that you've got, and it's worth noting, top 5 drivers, they have an automatic ticket here at the moment, so they're going to be the ones who are going to be a little bit cold. It's going to be about who can build some heat and who can fly up into pace.
Confirmation, only one car out of this field will not make it into the feature. So pressure is on. You do not want to be the last one without a seat in this game of musical chairs. Green flag comes quickly here at this quarter-mile track, and automatically Weissman takes that low line away. He wants to be at the bottom, is behind him. It is still too wide, and cars are banging off one another.
They are, and they are clipping the wall there. That was Jaden Dahlberg who ended up dropping back from second into fourth. And you've got to be very alert. And there's a little bit more argy-bargy then as they come off through. Dahlberg and Jeremiah Rychecki searching for some angles there out there. Halinar's looking okay. Bates stuck on the outside too. But at the moment, the middle of the pack's where you start to get all dicey. Everyone's searching for an angle, but everyone is on that rush to the inside. The inside here with this 9-car field is where it's at.
And what's even crazier about this is it's 7 cars that advance. So 2 cars are going to be taking part in that LCQ as we watch from on board with the 57, looking back from Halinar at the fight between Bates and Greats. What a combo there. And that's an important fight because those last 2 are the ones on the outside looking in.
Listen, if we have to debate Bates versus Greats, then I'm sure it's going to be something that is going to be fun. But at least at the moment, at a halfway stage, they sort themselves out. And now it's about getting yourself a security blanket. Alex Halinar would be a nice overtake for Charlie Bates at this point in time. Try and get that at the front of the field. It's pretty much plain sailing for Michael Weissman at the moment. Terjak and Grout find themselves second and third in their own scrap, but it's towards the rear where that transfer position becomes the most important, because Charlie Bates here is desperate to get past Halinar, and at the moment he's not finding it, and there's a spin in the back. That's going to be Vincetic who goes around, and that will pretty much put him P9.
Oh, he needs some sort of caution here to slow things up, or else he is out of this one. Greats now no longer has the pressure from behind. Charlie Bates has been desperately trying to get by Halinar, as you said, but nothing doing at this stage. They've been losing touch with those ahead. The 57 knows he's under threat. He loses the low line.
And just like that, if you can pick a pocket or 2, you might be able to steal a place, and that security's there. Now watch the 90 here, trying to build that security back up. Pinned to the outside, the 57 of Alex Halinar, and because of that now, he bangs off the wall with 3 laps to go and finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. He'll now try and come back up and under.
Oh, just like that, he is out of it. He's got to get there within 2 laps, it looks like. Alex Greats now has to play defense here. Can he keep from being shuffled back into the mire?
Well, here's the white flag coming out, and the wall gets absolutely clattered by Alex Greats, who's now feeling the pressure, and this, as the checkered flag comes out, is vital.
Weissman will take the win, but it is Alex Greats who advances through Halinar, and Vincetic is going to head off to the last chance qualifier. Only 2 cars. There is literally just a winner and a loser.
It is as simple as that. You're in or you are out, and it is that game that they've got. Second heat going through, same will apply. It'll be Bradley Stefan and Sean Urich who will have that front row and arguably the best amount of safety. Dylan Calabro and Keegan Bush will house row 2, and then Alex Cogan in 5th place will have Jared Schell alongside the company in 6th position. It's then William Littergott and Thomas Earlywine, Casey Beattie with work to do in 9th position to try and make that chase. But everybody is noting once again here, Joe, it's about just giving yourself some room to go out there and have some safety.
Absolutely, and apologies with there being 2 heats. There was more than just the one. That's usually what we do here. It will be 4 cars racing in that last one, as once again it is the top 7 that will be taken, and then the consolation will decide who goes the feature. But that one still only sees 1 car advance. You better be in it to win it, as we come around and the pace truck is going to head on in, and up at the front, Bradley Stefan will lead them to the green flag. Who is going to be out of this? It is green flag racing now. Bradley gets to that low line at the back right now. It is Jared Schell and Earlywine who are out of it.
And it's such an early green flag that if you can wait long enough, you've got the perfect opportunity at the front to slingshot. And that's the key there for Bradley Stefan. He's been able to really work his way forward. Now up on the top line, you can make a little bit of progress as the night goes on. Casey Beattie having some good progress, but it's Keegan Bush who's stuck on that top line. Probably the one driver who's looking about going, you know what, do I really want to be here right now? 5th, 6th, 7th? Really having this scrap on, knowing that 8th and 9 will pick up if we we run over each other. The last place you want to be is on the outside. You need a little bit of that safety blanket, and he's really trying to get that clearance here as he rushes along through 3 and 4 once again.
Well, then nobody told the 27 you don't want to be on the outside. He just about made the pass using that slingshot, using the momentum around Lidegaard on the inside in that number 71. Can't quite seem to finish it up. Now, this is only sort of important here. This is to decide 6th place, 5th and 6th place, it looks like. No, excuse me, 6th and 7th place. So now William in that 71 is the one that is vulnerable. Jared Schell behind him. If he can pass him, he could demote him down into the consolation race.
And that's because he caught the apron, and that was crucial. It's really affected his momentum for the last 2 laps, and Jared Schell now gets himself the target, the carrot dangling on the stick right in front of him, and that becomes crucial. But look at that gap as they cross. Once again, it's 0.6 of a second. That is an age eternal in a race like this.
It really is. They need to stick with it. We do have a battle for the lead up at the front as well. Stefan versus Calabro trying to sort that one out. Down to the inside, Calabro is going to be able to get underneath and get to the line first with the 4 lap to go signal now. Number 91 trying to see if he can hold back the 89.
Look at this, it's getting 3 wide here in the middle almost at times, and these drivers know that yes, they're safe, but position is going to mean a lot here when it comes to the main event, the 200 laps they'll have to deal with. Wherever they finish is wherever they'll start, and so yes, every position is going to be important. Again, Keegan Bush doing the good job there on the outside line, holding station with Beatty, and then you got, again, Litter got there on the outside. Look how close they're willing to run with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these drivers want to make sure that they don't hit each other and spin them out, because that will definitely mean you're gone from this race. White flag, 1 lap left, still being led by Calabro up at the front. Schell and Earlywine still too far back to do anything. Calabro will take the heat win, but as we get the last of the field down into it, indeed, Schell in the 18, Earlywine in the 17 are now heading to the consolation race.
That is going to be a tough race for those 4, and this is effectively a case of winner stays on, and it's a very awkward position to be down there inside the final 4, because what you're asking is, do I have Charlie's last golden ticket to go visit Willy Wonka's factory? Hallinar and Schell will be on the front as the winners effectively, or the best of the losers in that opening heats that we've seen. And then of course you've got Vinitich and Earlywine who are going to be out there, and they've got the tough work to do from the second row. They've got to really master that start, and they've got an extra 5 laps to figure out the way to get to position numero uno.
Wow. The tension is going to be just ramped up in this one, with the chances being 1 and 4. If you can stay racing tonight after this, you just get parked. And after all the effort, after all the practice, you get your qualifying in, you get your heat of all of 15 laps to race, and then you don't get anything more after this with 20 laps here in the consolation. That's going to be very pitiful after looking at 200 laps for the feature, and the green flag is out. The 57 of Hallinar right now in the catbird seat in the lead.
Yeah, and Jared Schell off for that start really struggled there to get the turn that he wanted. He was almost straight into the side there of Hallinar, which could have been really troublesome there. Vinitich then finds himself third, Earlywine in fourth with a lot of work to do as they will make that progress forward. And with not many cars out there, this is going to be a struggle. And already you're seeing the gapping from the front 2 to the rear 2, which effectively makes it 50-50, me or you if you're Hallinar and Schell.
Hallinar probably feeling good about this right now. You could see how much Schell is pushing to catch up with him, just brush the wall coming on the main straight as they swing down into 3 and 4. He's just a little too far back right now. We still got 15 laps to go, though. He could catch him up, but he needs to push.
He does need to push, but looking at the times, it was an 11.1 that time from Hallinar, Schell an 11.2, and it was an entire 1/10 of a second that's there. Earlywine really falling off the back now, and I think it's going to be a case of, well, like namesake, you're going to need an early glass of wine if you're going to be with that sort of pace at the moment, but do not count out Tyler Vinicic because he's really found a bit of pace. So Vinicic is doing what he needs to. He's finding that form right in the middle of this race, giving himself that platform to close back down to Jared Schell in second.
Getting close to the halfway mark. These laps go by so fast out here. They'll cross the line once again. Like you said, that number 21 has been just steadily picking up on Jared bit by bit. And as they come through 3 and 4, he's starting to become a real threat. It might be all for naught, though, if those two fight and he gets past him. If it takes a while and they're gapped up to Hallinar, he's not going to be able to run him down with so few laps.
Well, that's always going to be the question mark that's going to be out there. If you can catch, that's one thing. If you can make the overtakes and go through, that's another. He's clawed that gap down. He is the fastest car on track at the moment, but he will need to clear Jared Schell or even yet push him through, try and get him that run. His car is lighting up at the time he needs it the most. Hallinar keeping it lovely, but look at this, trying to get underneath the Lale Lule Low sign, the Patriot sign, and he's going to get it, but he's not got the run, and look at how it costs them.
Oh, uses his elbows, but it spins him out, and he's down to the inside. He's off the racing line. We are going to have our first yellow of the night, and that will bunch them back up together.
He might lose the lap if he's not careful. He's really got to get going. It's such a short lap, and he will, I think, drop the lap as well. So that's not going to be ideal in terms of how they go through. Now, Early Wine coming in for a stop, so that's going to be very interesting. Maybe a little bit of damage on the side of the car has been just slowing that late model down a bit, so they'll get the panel beaters out, try and get him back into pace again. But another look at where it all goes wrong. Look, he's trying to open up that inside line. He gets really shallow, which runs him out wide, and then Schell grabs a little bit of the wall. There's a tiny bit of avoidance there, and effectively it's the most innocent little bit of panel to panel you've ever seen.
That does look like Early Wine took his spare car. They get one in this race, and he's going to join them, but he is indeed 2 laps down from the lead. Vinicic 1 lap down. That means this is down to Hallinar and Schell to try and decide who will advance. So far, my money, frankly, would be on Hallinar, but you never know with him being bunched back up what the 18 can do.
Well, the wave rounds are going to come into play, so that's going to mean that both Vinicic will go back onto the leading lap, and Early Wine will be 1 lap down in this race. So Vinicic will have that ability to really make it happen, but he's going to have to motor here behind the iRacing pace truck at this current moment in time. They have extended that caution by an extra lap just to allow that period of time to go through. But you have to remember as well, it is such an early pit entry here around this circuit. You've got to look around and go and be ready the moment that pace truck dives off. So that's going to be the worry. A second wave around, it will be extended to a green-white checker.
Yep, so they're making sure everybody is on the lead lap, so they want to make sure they get a fair shot at this one since it's such a short track, and this could make or break things for them. So have we turned off? Yeah, it looks like lights are off on the pace car. That means we're going to go double file. Noah's Ark here, 2 by 2 to come around, and 2 laps to decide it on top of things. Green flag is out. Hallinar on the loud pedal as he accelerates away, keeping the 34 up to the high side.
Yeah, and that's trouble because Vinicic wanted a way through and he wasn't going to quite going to get it. White flag is going to come out here, and look at the gap that's made. Early Wine pushing for 3rd.
Oh, it's not going to do much for them here at the end because the 57 of Alex Hallinar is going to take the win as Early Wine is hit into the wall, and his night ends in an unfortunate accident as Alex will be the one to just squeak through at the very end and make it to the feature. Let's see what happened to that 17.
Hooks a quarter panel, gets down to the inside here and comfortably gets that move through. There's a little bit of push that came through, and then ultimately right as the 25 there starts to make that turn through into that section. So Tyler Vinicic making that turn in. There's only one issue that you're going to have there, is that this is a very, very banked circuit. It's very easy to have that turn, and oops, there's still someone there.
Unfortunate to see, but this means our grid has now been set for the 200 lap feature. And on the top of them, it is going to be Deegan Smith, who has been regrid onto the pole, with Jake Sylvia starting next to him. Kyle Adams begins from P3, and Tyler Mueller will be in the 4th spot. You've got Brett McCoy starting in 5th, and Michael Weissman in the 6th position. Dylan Calabro, P7, then finds Kyle Turzak starting 8th, and Alex Kogan in 9th. Top 10 going to be rounded out by Jake Grout.
And then on row number 6, Bradley Stefane and Jaden Dahlberg will have 11th and 12th. Keegan Bush will have to go from lucky or unlucky number 13. Jeremiah Rychecki alongside the company. It's then Casey Beattie and Charlie Bates, with William Littergott and Alex Great holding row 9 of the grid. Sean Urich will have Alex Hallinar. Then in 20th, Jared Schell will be classified as car number 21 in this 21 car field. 2 made their way through in terms of the consolation, so there was a little bit of fortune in that regard. But as Barney waits there with the green flag, this is going to be one where 200 laps is either going to be really, really intense and clean, or it's going to be switch on, switch off as a caution fest.
All right. Are we going to be running green, or are we going to get more yellows? The heat races certainly looked pretty good, as we only had a single caution through all of those and the consolation race. But this is a lot more cars out on track. Will they stay patient? Green flag is out. They start to accelerate away. Deegan Smith holding that bottom line, wants to keep the 88 at bay, and they are immediately going to hit one another.
Look, you are going to have to try and earn your stripes here, and you are trying to make buddies over 200 laps. Caution immediately comes out, though, and it's a big one at the back. Hallinar's caught up in it, and a whole bunch in there. Keegan Bush, I think, was caught up in it, the big name.
Yeah, looks like you are right that Bush is the first one to go spinning, but I think he had a little help. I think Dahlberg and he are going to make contact. We'll see if we can pull up a replay.
Well, they're all going to start tripping over each other because it's lap 1 and everyone's trying to find an angle. Look at that. That's just an issue of getting down too low, getting loose on that inside, and look at how nobody has a place to go. It junks up the 33 degrees of banking, which is essentially like trying to drive up a hill, and you're always worried that one car's going to jump up through. It's Bush getting loose here down that inside. He has to check slightly, and because of that, there's no time to make a mistake here at Slinger.
Okay, so drivers now get reset. We didn't get to go all as quick as we wanted for very long, but they've reset them up. Now, I know the pace truck has pulled in, but it's a bit weird how things work out here at Slinger, so they need to do a little bit of extra sort of work behind the scenes to make sure that we get nice, clean restarts.
Absolutely. This is all about trying to keep the pace down here, making sure there is that level on that restart that everyone goes through. That pace truck is flying around here at 90 mile an hour, there or thereabouts. They've brought it right down to a pit limiter speed at this moment, 37, to give themselves the best chance to really rush on forward on their laps. And they are looking really intent to get things going. Jake Sylvia on the outside. There's the green.
As they take off. Last time he made side-to-side contact with the leader. This time, though, he can't keep with him. In fact, he has to watch out for Tyler down below in that number 1, who's trying to sneak through. In fact, he gets underneath him, and he takes P2 away.
Perfectly done there by Tyler Muller, and he's looked so good as of late. He is so good at picking up a little bit here, a little bit there. That's what he does fantastically. They fall to single file through the first half dozen. It will fall back to Michael Weissman and co on the outside, with Alex Kogan, the new boy, looking to try and prove that his first race here is going to really prove his mettle. And down on that low side, he's going to find that from Club Benelux, he is finding a very nice turn of pace on that low line.
Who says our friends across the pond can't short track race here? As we come now to single file for most of the field. They know they got a long way to go. Let's see if they just tick some laps off. No, they won't. We get another caution.
Greats in the back. McCoy's caught up in it as well. So there's some big troubles going out there on the back. It was right down in the lower ends of it. Second instant, actually, that Brett McCoy's been caught up in here today. And that was a case of one car off the apron and everybody else pretty much scrambled about with it here, Joe. We're going to get a look at it here. This is not going to be the nicest one here for McCoy as he sees, yeah, there's the 90 spinning in front, and then effectively he got run over.
Yeah, that one was not his fault at all. He saw the accident, he checked up, and Alex Greats in the number 9 is also going to get some help in quite a similar way, and they actually run into each other on top of things.
Now that 90 actually caught the apron, and it's so unannounced here that you grab the apron, that's where the troubles lie. That's how quick it is. So here's the look from behind. This is the recovering Deegan Bush, who effectively is just trying to get on the power. He's got more pace than those drivers at the back. He's normally in the mid-pack trying to move his way up, and he's just not got the patience here after making that early mistake which brought the initial caution out.
Let's not forget, when we talk about 33 degrees, because you mentioned that apron kind of sneaking up on you, that they're essentially racing at an itty-bitty tiny version of Daytona. And we've seen you don't want to touch the inside at Daytona. So, I mean, same deal here, except in this case, basically put way more steering into it. Of course it's going to upset the car.
Absolutely, and this is what you're really starting to see. You are on a fine tightrope because you're trying to get down as low as possible to that apron without touching it. The moment you do, you're going to have tires up in the air, you're going to really unsettle the balance of the car, and it's only going to want to go one way, and that's around the last place you want to be. But it's now focused. It's Smith versus Muller at the front, heading back towards a green.
Interesting. Not sure if Muller managed to get underneath him because he's restarting on the inside, or if they allowed Deegan to choose which lane he wanted to restart. Green flag is out regardless, and if he chose to start on the outside, that was a bad decision because Tyler is now into the lead. Jake now on the bottom side has his roles reversed.
Look, this is all about understanding in the early stages. If you're in the front 2, front 3, and especially this early in the race, when you've had a couple cautions, you do have that luxury of choice and you can understand what's going to work. He'll know next time out, I've definitely got to be down on the bottom, but it's all about focus here in the middle because look at how busy it gets. They are on the rush. They're effectively here on the rush trying to get to Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the moment. Bradley Stefane we go on board with here, right in the middle of the crush.
Car spinning off to the inside. That's going to bring out the yellow. That is Kyle Adams, interestingly, who finds himself off the corner. I think maybe just a little too hot because this looked like a solo incident as they came by our booth.
Yeah, no, that's all on his own, and that is going to be the one that really stings the most because it's not the fact that you've hurt the car, it's not the fact you've done anything, it's the pride, and you're going to really get this sense here. He's tucked up behind Jake Sylvia in the 88. He's having a fantastic run in terms of his pace. Look, car just gets loose off of the exits, bumpy out of 4, and he just didn't have enough throttle control to keep that one measured.
So he gets sent to the back. Hallinar, who was sent a couple laps down, being involved in that very first yellow flag, has been steadily picking up the lucky dog, so he doesn't mind the race getting slowed down like this, even though we're eating up the laps in the early stages. He is now, I think, down to, looks like should be 1 lap down this time.
Yeah, there was a little bit of banter just before we got the race started. There was a question of over-under of 6 yellows posed by Michael Weissman. Charlie Bates said 6 in the first 50 at least. And I'll tell you what, at this rate, he's going to be right.
Yeah, I think they're going to start stacking up on this one. So drivers will have to try and clean things up if they want to get some more green flag racing. When we do, it's pretty good out there. So the drivers are certainly appreciating what practice that they're getting, but they'll need a bit more of a long run to really start to feel this one out. Green flag is out. Mueller once again on the top as he restarts with Deegan Smith under threat from the 88 of Jake Sylvia. He takes that second place away immediately, and we get a caution immediately. Jared Schell, I see. Looks like maybe Brett McCoy and Keegan Bush also involved.
Yeah, they're all there in the middle, and it looks like it's a case of McCoy has just got a little bit tight into the corner, and he is absolutely clattered Keegan Bush. And I wonder how much of that is going to be payback for that initial incident that we saw earlier on. He gets down low. He did get pinched there, so I don't think that was necessarily retaliation. I think that Keegan Bush really tried to pinch McCoy down low, and McCoy again just couldn't get out of it.
While we wait for them to sort things out, I believe, or no, we're going to check one more replay, it looks like here, just to get a view from it on board. Just tips him around and down into the figure of 8 they go before having to trundle through the grass. Now I believe we've got an opportunity to head to a quick break. We'll be back with the green flag here at Slinger Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, and it looks like we are back to green flag racing already. Tyler Mueller up into the lead as we have had about 3 or 4 laps back at speed. The 88 of Jake Sylvia chasing, but we go back to yellow right away.
It's an absolutely huge one, and it was all around the middle. I think Jaden Dahlberg was one of them caught up in it. Alex Kogan was the big car getting tipped around. They were going 3 wide on the lap before as they went through back to that caution once again. But look, drivers are needing to make moves because these caution laps are taking away from this race. Look at it, 3 wide in the middle. Low goes to 71, and that's a case of 2 meeting in the middle, and that was never going to be the idea. William Littergott finding himself caught up in that with that contact with the new boy, Alex Kogan. Welcome to the Misfit Tour. Not the way he would have wanted that caution to come out.
Yeah, he got pretty beat up on that one, so he's had to come into pit lane, take his fast repair. He's in the spare car now and returning to the track, just get another look at it. He just got pushed around once he was in that mess, and there's nothing he could do in that situation. It was just all unfolding around him.
Look, this is the issue that you have when you're a brand new driver and you go into a new series, right? Because effectively, it's like being a pack of dogs. You are the run to the litter. You have to earn your stripes and jump up through, and pace, yes, will certainly do that, but it's how much can you put your elbows out? You got to earn respect in a series like this, and it's that which found him run over.
All right, we're stacked back up once again. Pace truck is in. Tyler now has the ability to go when he wants, and he does as he accelerates down towards turn 1. Look at Deegan Smith, though. He likes that second spot. That is a place to be on the restart, although he clips the apron and almost loses it.
And there's another caution, so look at that. Another one goes through, and it's big in the middle. And it looks like around is Michael Weissman, the big one that gets caught around. And there was a huge, huge hit into the wall for Jeremiah Rychecki. He absolutely clattered the outside of the backstretch.
Oh, that might be it for him. I think he might have his spare car. Also a big one for Weissman, who spun and lost his positions up towards the front. And unfortunately, because he was back here, he got caught up in it and then got hit multiple times. Now the car is limping, and he also has to head into pit lane.
Oh, it's all on his own as well for Rychecki, which causes that. And drivers are going to want to be eager. They want to get on the power. They want to get out of the way of everyone else quickly. But when you've got 500 horses in the stable and you're trying to put them down in these wheels on 33-degree banking that often narrows out, and it's such a point and squirt style of track, you know, you're looking at it, it's so easy to get into trouble.
There you see just one more angle of the incident. And what is all this for? Well, they're fighting for a belt buckle from Molly's Custom Silver. Handmade, those things. Fantastic little pieces of work. You can see right there, this is an example of some of the stuff that they've done. So maybe they'll try and commemorate the chaos that we've been witnessing today. I don't know. Or maybe they'll want to forget it. Regardless, the winner will receive a handmade custom belt buckle from Molly's Custom Silver. I'm not sure. Do they do many? Are belt buckles a thing over in the UK?
Belt buckles aren't, as we go back to green flag racing. A good start from Tyler Muller, but one thing that is very much a case of, well, where do you find your place? Where do you get your achievements? We're very much a trophy nation. We do love our trophies. We do love our accolades. We do plaques. Plaques, I think, is the big thing that we do over here.
Plaque is what the dentist gets rid of you over here, but as they come around once again under full speed, Tyler Mueller just ahead of all the chaos in the mid-pack. They're trying to get it sorted out so that we can get some green flag racing the time. Bradley Stefane round the outside and gets turned. Can he keep it pointed forward? Yes, we stay green.
Oh, that was big from Calabro there. It was getting dicey. He definitely was trying to throw the elbow, saying, I want this place, and he goes and takes it as well for his money. Stefane's going to remember this one later on in this race, and at almost the quarter distance, he's now shuffled way back into the pack right now, down in 13th. Unlucky for some.
At least we stay green flag racing. We're going to take a look at the incident there, as that was very close, well held by all involved. So as we see him just looked like he almost was turning in a little loose as well, but the touch helped turn him the rest of the way around.
Look, there was a little bit of a something there that didn't help, and I think really there you've got to be so switched on, and that's how quickly you can get into a race like this and get into trouble, because you're always looking for clearance, and if you're not 100% sure that you've got clearance, you know, you shouldn't really be turning in. Stefane was doing everything right. Calabro, I think, just got a little bit cheeky taking that place. Now, there's a little search for third position out there on circuit, so this is starting to get on here. Jake Sylvia trying to find a rhythm here. Carl Terjak, who started 8th in this race, is already up 5 into 3rd. He's having a stellar run right now as a 51.
Yeah, he's been holding off Jake for some time now, so can he manage to hold him at bay for the other 150 some odd laps that they've got left in this event? Looks like we're starting to get things going a while under green, but what this also means, a quarter-mile track, 21 cars, they're already reaching the lap traffic.
And that's big, because you're going to start tripping over some other drivers as everyone tries to find their space. On board with Kyle Adams, who's in 10th position with a spin. He's been trying to really make some moves. Caution comes out, though, at the right time for some, not for others. Alex Grates around.
Oh, no, and Grates has already taken his spare car. And, I think he had a hardware failure, because that car absolutely turned right at a track that has no right turns.
Yeah, that's never a good sign, trying to turn right and going left. Just trying to get a little look at how that's gone, and oh yeah, no, it has just turned away on him there at that stage. I wouldn't say it was a direct snap, so to speak, Joe, like a wheel disconnect, so it wasn't like that. Maybe something a little bit more intuitive than that, because it was a slow turn to the right there. You can see that heavy hit. It was very much a case there, Joe, of, I think, just trying to fight against the force feedback of the wheel really turning the other way. I think that was the issue, and that's why it was a more slower, delayed turn of the steering wheel rather than the disconnect snap that we tend to see.
That makes our first actual retirement from the race, as Alex Grates is gone. We're down to only 20 cars, still getting some back on the lead lap. Rychecki, the latest to get that lucky dog, and now go to 2 laps down. Shell and Weisman are also multiple laps down, still 17 cars that are on the same lap as our leader, the number 1 machine.
It's a long day if you're laps down, then you are very reliant on the field deciding that they want to play hardball with everybody else here today to get yourself back in with a chance. And even if you do get onto the back, Joe, and you get back on that pack, back on the lead lap, still got to get through everyone, and that's a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and we've seen that passing is possible, but it is very difficult out here and can often lead to these accidents as nobody's willing to give an inch since there is very little real estate out there to try and fight over. Green flag is out, and they are underway despite the pace truck having not come in. Thankfully, they can ghost through it. Almost an accident for the 88 who makes contact. He's still in third. Battle for the lead is Deegan Smith up around the outside. He almost gets turned as well.
Just look at this. This is how much it means to get to the front. Lap 65, they're all beating and banging here for panels, on for 4th and 5th as well as they start searching. Terjak and Grout now finding themselves in line, and now you're starting to wonder who's got a bit of space, who's going to give each other who, and I think they're realizing this is going to be a race of who can win it to turn 1 off these restarts.
Absolutely, and Jake Grout has been doing fantastic. Another driver that's gained 5 here to get up to P5. Now that he's solidified himself down to the bottom line, looks like he can focus forward behind them. We check out now the battle between Keegan Bush around the outside of Charlie Bates, and we got a spin.
We do, and that is not going to be ideal in terms of circumstances. There is the 24 car going around, and that is for the second time today. Kyle Adams finding himself with a spin. I wonder if he's got that set up very loose. He was so quick in qualifying. I wonder if he's put that setup right on the ragged edge.
I'm thinking the same thing you are on this one. Both times we've had yellows because of him, it's because he spun completely on his own. And since it is open setup, they say loose is fast, Jake, but maybe that's a little too loose.
I think he needs to kick off his Sunday shoes at this moment in time and realize it's Saturday and he needs to really find a little bit of stability at this point. So this is, again, the issue that he's running into. So he's trying to run through. He rushes up the circuit, gets a little bit of that air off the side, and that would have unsettled him slightly, having to change that line, change that course ever so slightly. And it's that concentration, because this is a quarter miler. You don't have a time to breathe out there. Each straight, you're focusing on the next corner, which is pretty much click and it's there, and you're through corners for 6 seconds of the lap, and for 4 seconds of the lap, you're on the straight. So you really have to effectively think twice, 3 times as fast as much as other short tracks that are there, as much more than other tracks that we're going to have for the rest of the season, of course, with the Triple Crown. You've got to think more than you would do here at Slinger than you would do at Bristol, and you have to think more than you would do at Martinsville.
And I'm sure this drives like absolutely nothing else on the service, or honestly anything in the world, as the green flag is out once again. Deegan controlling things, but Jake Sylvia is going to dive down to the bottom from that 3rd position to try and demote Mueller. They're wheel to wheel fighting for 2nd.
I'll tell you what, Muller has looked really nice on that outside line, and he is forcing Sylvia to use every trick in the book. Little bit of lead. He's trying to pinch him up every chance he can here on lap 75, rushing around 3 and 4. Muller is giving a showcase, because not everyone's been able to run the high line and make it stick so far today at Slinger.
Oh, once again, off of each other's doors. They're giving each other just enough room and nothing more, but they haven't been able to separate down to the inside. The 88 now starting to nose ahead with the shorter line, but using the momentum. These two rivals have been at it all season long.
Yeah, and this is what it means. They're all trying to push. Deegan Smith has been given license to try and break away, but that's the first time we've really seen Muller get a half a car. He loses it all on that, and behind that you got Grout and Terjak playing the same game, just a meter or 2 behind. So it really does showcase here with these drivers. They are right on the limits here, trying to push and get what they can. One wrong move, and it's trouble for everyone. Caution comes out.
That looks like Kogan, I think, has turned around. Not sure if it started with him. I think he is involved with Sean Urich a little bit on this accident, unfortunately. And then another car was actually down in the grass. That looks like Michael Wiseman trying to avoid. Oh, spotter said not clear.
Yeah, that's always going to be very dangerous. Second look would go really lovely with that. Kogan was trying to find himself a bit of space. There's Urich up on the top as he goes forward. So there's the rush around the outside, and then The issue that you run into there is that you've got Uric coming off the throttle at that point. You've got Kogan coming up, and essentially Kogan's just hoping that Uric clears him there by just being so slow. But Kogan on that inside, bang, and effectively you're there for the ride along the whole straight before you get dumped and turned.
Well, glad there weren't too many more cars involved in that one, since that could have been bad, but that's going to move Kogan back to the end of the line as he was given the EOL for blame on that incident. We haven't been reporting it as much, but drivers, for incidents that aren't considered racing incidents, they do give an EOL to the person who caused the yellow flag to come out. And there's definitely been a few victims of that already here today. Kogan going to be the latest, who will be the last of the lead lap, at least on this restart. On board with Jaden Dahlberg, in the meantime, restarting from the mid-pack. Interesting and worth noting as well, Jake, this means that Sylvia restarts in second on the outside. That doesn't seem like the place you want to be.
It doesn't, but it's just about how quick you can react. I think that's what Sylvia's trying to do. He's trying to give himself that opportunity to say, you know what, I can really make this launch. I can get it happening. Green flag in the air, that's not bad of a restart.
Yeah, he's trying his hardest to fight that number one. This time he's on the outside. Oh, but we got a car getting turned immediately loose off the corner. Couldn't stay out of it. I think that was Jake Grout, actually.
Yeah, and Grout definitely has dropped down the order then in the 49 machine. So a hefty hit, and that was a quick start. And the issue that he runs into is that he effectively has the track turn him. Everyone just junks up behind him. He's the bottleneck, and as they push side by side with Terjak here, Terjak gets in the wall, he comes down, and really the 49 left in no man's land just has to take the turn.
Oof. Befitting for his name, Grout gets embedded in the wall with that one. Just could not stop it once he got hooked there. And he takes that spare car with
end of line.
Still, yeah, oh goodness. So just insult to injury here for him. With more than 100 laps to go, we still have half this race and then some to try and complete here. And there's quite a few cars that have taken that spare car. The highest of those who have is actually Casey Beattie, who is up into 5th in the number 45. So he's made pretty good use of it, I'd say.
Well, he didn't qualify, and he's had to go through the long way, but he's definitely looked like he's had a little spectre of something that's been giving him that opportunity to dive forward. And I think he's just been really profiteering off of everyone else's mistakes. Everyone else that's been around Casey Beattie has been in trouble, and it's what I like to call landmine avoidance. He has been dodging landmines left and right, and look at how he smiles at the other end of the road with what is currently 110 laps to go here at Slinger Speedway.
All right, who's got those tap dancing shoes on to avoid those landmines as Jake Sylvia tries to get to the bottom, but he can't. The one is there, prevents him for now. He accelerates off of 2 and does manage to clear this time. Now it's a battle for 3rd position. Terjak is fighting hard.
Terjak really trying to be opportunistic, and a caution comes out again. McCoy.
Ooh, and did he, because he was immediately into pit lane. He must have taken a tow pretty quickly there. And he is going to get some help on this one, though.
He is, but I don't think it's really his fault, or I do think it's his fault. Look how high he goes. Look how he tries to diamond off the corner. Where is Jeremiah Rychecki supposed to go?
Yeah, he was definitely trying to do a line that wasn't going to work at this sort of track, and that might have actually been a good call for him towing as quickly as he had. You could see the field coming back around almost immediately. He did not need to be in front of them by the time that caution was thrown. Looks like Brett is now the latest to be an official DNF on this race.
Yeah, so there's a lot of frustration now going about the pack, it seems. This constant stop and start. They're not able to really gain a rhythm. They're halfway through this race, and it has been completely a full struggle street as they've gone on through here, Joe. But I reckon that in terms of what they're looking at here, they're looking at drivers trying to go out there, try and be aggressive. And one of the things about Slinger is because these speeds, it's so stop-start, they're not getting to the full element in terms of their pace. They're not really getting the full amount of damage on these hits and these spins. So it means that there's, the drivers who are maybe getting into more trouble than others are getting 2nd and 3rd lives.
Yeah, that's a good point, which unfortunately means that they're not culling the herd. It's great for more action out on track. More cars is better, but it also means that those that have been causing the trouble have been kind of sticking around. So we'll see if it eventually bites them as we're going to get going once more. With Deegan Smith has been controlling it. Jake Sylvia has been back and forth on whether or not he restarts in second or third. This time it's going to be second place. Wow, great start for the 88. He chopped down immediately.
Well, he covered his own flank, and he did so quite brilliantly. Terjak as well doing well. Muller stuck to the outside as it's Beatty now, who's going to be the one trying to make the move down on the inside. So that's quite crucial. There are other good players of the game who are making progress. Bradley Stefane, by the way, has got right to the back of Calabro. Those two had a big moment earlier on in this race. I wonder if that might come back to bite Calabro later on.
I'm hearing someone was given a drive-through penalty for changing lanes before the line. I didn't catch which car it was. That is going to hurt if they have to serve that under green flag racing. Oh, goodness.
And just like that, he is going to drop like a stone here in this one. And one of the big things is he's got to find a way into the pits and do so safely. And he will do. He'll go up high, and he'll have to now take it. And it's one of the longest pit lanes of the season.
Yeah, all the way around the outside here, waiting patiently at pit speed limit. And oh, the one gets turned. Former leader, unfortunately turned around. Tyler Muller goes to the back of the field.
Oh, and this is probably the biggest saving grace for Calabro in this one, having the caution come out at the time it does. Tyler Muller in 5th position. He got hot in through one, and effectively, the moment he had to get on the binders, everybody else is going to rush on through like an accordion. This is the key. He has to really focus here out of 4, here into 1. He's so deep into the corner, nowhere to go, and at that point, you know what? He's in it for the ride.
Car just gets a little loose and not much he can do from there. So unfortunately the Toyota liveried car is going to have to head to pit lane, it looks like, because of the damage, and get some repairs. Also taking tires, interestingly, and I'll have to double check to see what the rules are on taking tires, because don't think I've seen others doing that here today.
I think now's the right time for it, because you're talking about how many heat cycles here, Joe, that they're putting in through their tyres, these consistent restarts. They're going to scrub those tyres up so quickly, especially with the high banking. So to take tyres now at exactly lap 100 or 106, sorry, you know, that's the right time, I'd say, to go out there, get those tyres, get back into play, and I think he might be a factor in the second half of this race. Yeah,
you might be right. I did check. They have 2 tire sets available to them. So I assume that means they are allowed to change the tires, since that was set intentionally by the league owners. Here we go, restarting once again. Last time it was brilliant from Sylvia. He's got to worry about that changing lanes before the lines, though, because remember, he ducked down low very early, and he can't change lanes too much here as they go green flag racing. This time he's going to stay up on the high side. He is clear, and Kyle Terjak is going to try and stay below the 45 of Beatty.
Oh, and a big check-up from Sylvia, and that's going to bring everybody then panel bashing as they go through 1 and 2 once again. Everyone finds themselves through. Terjak now up into second. Beatty still there in 4th, but look at how it clawed on behind with Stefane. Sylvia still stuck on the outside trying to find clearance, and now here comes Stefane.
Oh, this is not looking good for the 88. He's struggling on this restart. Stefane almost through on him. He needs to get to the bottom quickly to stop the bleeding. He does it. Jake will fall to 5th. Up at the front, Smith has been using this chance to try and gap the field.
And let's not forget, keep an eye on the driver in 7th as well. Keegan Bush, who had been around twice in the opening 15 laps of this race, is now back up into 7th position here, and he is really making some good progress and proving that he has got a motor underneath him at the moment.
So up to 7th place, trying to see if he can take 6th from Dahlberg in front of him. Going to go a little bit higher off the turn. Got to watch out behind him. Sean Urich will try and pick his pocket. Oh, things getting checked up in front of them. Dahlberg causes him to have to get on the binders.
Caution, though, comes out, and that will bring everybody to a stop here. So a caution comes out on lap 116. Didn't quite catch who got caught up in it, but that is going to be not the easiest thing to deal with after that run.
trying to find who caused it, and I'm not seeing any cars around, so I'm a bit miffed as to what caused them to slow it up.
Well, I'm trying to find something here, and it wasn't the easiest thing to spot. So I think this will be a couple of people jumping down onto pit road. A couple of people did just jump. Jake Sylvia is going to be one of them to get some tyres to go out there and attack. The other one who's down in then on the lane, trying to just get through, is going to be Keegan Bush. So those two jumping in. I don't quite know who it was. It might have been someone near the back of the field.
Yeah, I was not able to find anything, and the race control did say something over the radio, but I didn't quite catch which driver they were mentioning. But yeah, a lot of people are using this as their opportunity to try to put some fresh rubber on, see if that will help them around this track, especially those that are maybe towards the back of the field. In fact, so those that pitted in this time, we're going to go back to green flag racing pretty much immediately. Oh, no time, and we got a car being spun around down to the inside. Are we going to get that another yellow? No? There it is. Okay.
Had to wait because everyone needed to cross the line before it, and it's Shaden Dahlberg and William Littergott who get turned around on the immediate restart there. So they were really looking to try and get that going. It's the checkup with BT there that pretty much throws everyone on the inside lane into trouble. Littergott effectively has to run over Dahlberg, who had nowhere to go. So it's Deegan Smith who was looking for that run, and he just never went.
Yeah, so that I think is on Beatty, like you said, for trying to game it a little bit and then had to get on the binders, and then everybody just sort of chain reaction behind him, and now they have had to go back to yellow quite quickly because of that. So we'll hopefully restart a little bit cleaner on that one. We are down to only 10 cars left on the lead lap because of those who took their pit stop that last time, now losing a lap, but they're going to get a lucky dog for a few of them, including Keegan Bush, who is the man that just seems to survive and never quit.
Well, the one thing that I've just heard over from the race control communications is the next time that we get a yellow, we're going single file on these restarts, Joe.
Yeah, they are not liking what they're seeing on this one. We've had quite a few yellows. We expected them here on this one. Hopefully that will clean them up slightly. But we still have 19 cars that are racing on the track, despite having a number of incidents here. And at least it hasn't been chewing them up too badly, and we still have cars racing. Looks like the pace truck is in. Deacon Smith going to lead. Terjak now starting on the outside. Stefane, watch out for him. Coming back into this from third. Green flag is out, and Stefane gets a very good run. Could try and deny the second place to Kyle.
He definitely could, and he's stuck on that inside trying to go through. Now, a drive to keep an eye out on in the late stage of this race. We get another caution, is Tyler Muller, because he is hot-headed at the moment, and he is someone who's going to turn that into aggression. Good start then from Smith. Terjak will be happy and comfortable in second. Stefane still on that low line. BT rushing around the outside takes third, and we're into single file running big. Look down low. Ain't quite there yet, mate.
No, thankfully they're not going to get one another turned with that move, though. Just saying hello to the rear bumper of that car ahead as we are single file. Will we start to tick off these 71 laps left and get to the finish quicker under green, or are we going to get slowed down once more? Back of the field, though, is all sorts of side-by-side. Some of the cars sliding out of the corner and walloping the wall.
And lest we forget, they've had to do 130 laps, some of them on these tyres, so they're going to start feeling very second-hand, and there's going to be a difference here. Jake Sylvia, 13th position right now, currently trying to get that lucky dog off of Kyle Adams here in 12th, so he's got a lot of progress to do. He's a lap down at the moment, trying to get himself back into this race, and this is what you get here with short track. It's all about timing. When are you in the right position? When are you not? And at the moment, he's not.
Yeah, right now, Kyle Adams has 3 cars between himself and Sylvia, so he's sitting pretty for that lucky dog. Oh, bouncing off the wall there for the 74, and that's going to give Jake Sylvia a spot. Weissman can't seem to quite hold on. He's a couple laps down. He's not actually fighting for position here.
No, he's not. So Weissman here at this point in time is 6 laps down and really trying to gain. There's the 71 of William Littergott, who's now looking at Charlie Bates for position. This is 8th and 9th at this moment, so this is where the chase starts to come through. They've dropped off that main group, racing it about at the moment for 2nd position behind Carl Terjak, who's really the front of a very, very difficult train here. And you are really getting a sense here with Casey Beattie that he is trying to mastermind a way to get through. Every which way he tries to look, he's just got to try and open it up, and it's going to have to take him a little bit more of the extremes of the circuit to really open up and afford him that chance to attack down low.
They continue to lose time on our leader, Deegan Smith, hand over fist each lap as he pulls away. Beattie, if he's got the pace, he needs to try and make a pass and start charging after that 15, get himself in position to try and challenge him. So far, nothing doing, although he is glued to the rear of that 51.
Well, being glued to the 51 and finding a way by the 51 are two very different ports of call. So if he wants to get through, chase down that gap, that's going to be crucial. The good news is, though, all that pressure he's putting on Terjak, he's turning him from coal to a diamond. He's doing well. 71 of Littergott then, trying to get down low. He's trying to steal one on the inside. He slides heavily through the middle of 4. And just like that, it's going to put the likes of Kyle Adams on the outside then, trying to go through. And guess who? Jake Sylvia looking for the lucky dog.
Yeah, they finally come together. Oh, little contact. The 71 of Littergott goes to the bottom, tries to keep from sliding up into the 88, and he will fall behind them now. So now another lapped car going to try and come through up to Sylvia, fighting for the lucky dog with Kyle Adams as the 24. Also dealing with Charlie Bates, who's not on the same lap. Down to the inside. Sneaky move by Sylvia.
But that is Bates, who is ahead of them on the road. So there's going to have to be a little bit of something there. There's the turn, and the caution comes out. Fighting for the lucky dog, Kyle Adams then finds himself the one who finds the turn around, and nothing there would have been very helpful for Charlie Bates, who will feel like that he has just lost everything he possibly wanted out of that. He will feel so hard done by 2 lap cars behind him, scrapping for place.
Yeah, and was having to wait patiently for an opening. I wonder if they're going to wave him back to the lead lap, because he, I think, lost 2, having to sit and wait there for so long, facing the wrong way on this tiny little circuit. Curious if they're going to be giving an EOL for that one. If they do, Kyle Adams, we have to remember, is one of the... yeah, there you go. He's one of the organizers of this series, but everybody is under equal ruling there. I understand he actually told us that he watches this race, so I can't say anything too mean about him.
I can.
You're far enough away. You got a whole ocean between you and him.
Look, if he wants to come around here in my patch, have a Donnybrook, he can have a Donnybrook with me. It's very much the same with any driver who wants to have that little look. I think he's been doing a good job. I think he struggled there. And I think the issue that he had on that last run, the pressure that Jake Sylvia puts on drivers is simply immense. And it just goes to show you how legendary of a figure he is in short track in the Misfit production series, that he can force someone like Kyle Adams into that sort of mistake.
Sylvia did not get the lap back, though. He's still marked as a lap down. Interesting. So they're going to leave him there as Deegan Smith takes the restart. 50 laps to go. We're into the final quarter of the race. A look to the inside from Casey Beattie, trying to get underneath Terjak. They make contact.
They made a slight bit of contact. That checks it up slightly. Stefan on the outside. What a run Sean Urich's having at the moment after being caught up with Alex Kogan earlier on in this race. He takes a tap as well. Stefan might just get the clearance, but he gets caught up on the outside. Urich back down low, trying to steal it.
Still banging off of one another as the 97, struggling to get the throttle down, will fall back behind Bradley Stefan and have to settle for 5th. We go single file from most of the pack. Once again, a little bit of a look down to the inside with Calabro fighting with Busch for 7th.
Yep, so there's definitely some scrapping about everywhere. And remember, there was a penalty earlier on, a black flag for Calabro. He was so lucky that the caution came out. There is the 71 of Littergott, who's now 2 laps down. He's racing with Jaden Dahlberg for position. Dahlberg almost taking a huge chunk out to the side of Jared Shell, who clips the wall out of 4, pushing through. It's starting to get into that season, and there's spins, and that will do that. Another caution. Oh, that's the biggest hit yet.
lifting him up into the air. Lidegaard discovering just how much of a slant is on the back of these vehicles. We've seen this multiple times where they get lifted up. That one, I think, was that actually that was Kyle Adams that absolutely smashed into him.
Yep, so he's going to dive into the pits, and you know, you get those heavy hits. When it rains, it pours in terms of getting into an incident, and you're just trying to stay out of trouble after causing one caution. You find yourself pretty much jumping up on another one. It happens so quickly that you find yourself pretty much left in the position where you go, well, what am I supposed to do in this race? If it's left, it's wrong. If it's right, it's wrong. Sometimes you have one of those nights.
So I earlier mentioned that we had, you know, the highest driver who had taken a fast repair. That's still Casey Beattie, by the way, who sits in third. But now it's honestly probably more effective to mention how many cars haven't used their free repair, because there is only 4 of them left. Everybody has been so involved in all the mess out here that only Smith, Terziak, Stefane, and Calabro have not used them. We're back to the restart. No, it looks like we're going to hold off and wait for another time around.
Yeah, and I think that's really crucial. Deegan Smith has been so fantastic on these starts that he's given himself that luxury, and it doesn't really matter. Terziak's been so good, keeping himself out of trouble. Stefane's been caught in a little bit of trouble, but he's up there doing well. Green flag once again, and again, Deegan Smith commands the inside, but Terziak, it's the best we've seen out of him all night, trying to push that outside.
Oh, he's holding station. He's going to make him fight for it. He gets a good launch. He could take this away, but he's having to use the wall as he slams the car off of the concrete. It gets loose coming off of 2. They stay nose to nose.
To the window, to the wall, and maybe to the front. He tries to find that move, but Smith on that inside is resolute. Half a car length clear, and he'll now get more clearance. He tries to go through. The pinch is in, I'd say, exceptional at this moment for Terziak, who's throwing everything he can, knowing how crucial it is to get through at 35 to go.
Keeping him down on the bottom, not letting him drift up as much as he can. Kyle is doing the best we've seen, fighting for the lead on the outside, although he gets a hit there from Beattie.
And Beattie knows that if he wants to go through, he's got to be aggressive. The moment he saw a gap, he starts pushing, and he now knows he goes wing mirror to wing mirror. It's about getting second. He'll rely on a caution, but if he can steal that second away, that's big. Terziak on that outside, though, looking legendary.
Unbelievable stuff, although I have to tell you, there are no wing mirrors on these things. They are just going at it with the main mirror in the cockpit, and whatever the spotter can tell them as they come through 1 and 2, they're going to come together and sneak it around the outside. How about Bradley Stefane? What a move to avoid that accident.
It's Jake Grout finding himself trying to push through the corners, and everywhere you look, they were pretty much bumper to bumper to bumper. There was no margin. If anyone moved a mile an hour's difference on the needle, that was going to be trouble. So the look is going to be big in terms of what they had there, but Grout was the one driver who ran in and caused the chain reaction.
2 cars that had just phenomenal avoidance in that was Casey, as I mentioned, in the 45, and Dylan Calabro in the 91, who actually took to the grass. And thankfully, I don't think some of the cars down in there are solid, because you got that ambulance that he just about ran into.
Yeah, and Grout takes an end-of-line penalty, so from what was 4th position at the time, he'll drop back now to 11th in this train, and that will make sure that his night is trouble. But speaking of drives to keep an eye out on, we talked about it earlier, how Tyler Muller was really angry and upset. He's now up to 7th. Jake Sylvia up to 8th position. Terziak back there in 9th. Those 3, if they can make moves, they are weapons in the final stages of this race.
Well, unfortunately, now we've got some cars dropping like flies out there. Initially, we only had 2 DNFs with McCoy and Grates rather. Bates is now out. Dahlberg is out. Kyle Adams has been sitting in the pit lane hoping that his repairs are enough to try and carry on this race. Lidegaard also. Both have been in there for more than 4 minutes, which means many, many laps that they have dropped in this time. Pace truck is in. It is Smith and Beattie up at the front. Casey has certainly been a bit of a revelation on this one. As the green flag comes out, what can he do to challenge for the win?
Well, nothing at the moment, because that's just a great launch by Deegan Smith. Behind that, third and fourth, it's Yurik and Stefane, who are now finding themselves in a bit of a battle. Low side searching. Goes one, Mr. Bradley Stefane. He holds that station fantastically. It's now Calabro trying to get in, and all the quick drivers now are starting to trip over each other. They want to get through, and they want to get through quick, and they know that Yurik and Calabro and Stefane, they are the first real ports of call if they want to get through and make those moves late.
Yeah, still a little bit of side-by-side in there. Sylvia, by the way, is back onto the lead lap. He's trying to push forward. He's up to 7th around the outside of Mueller. In fact, they're fighting for position side-by-side there, you can see.
Yeah, and that is just comfortable from Sylvia, who took those tyres with about 70 laps to go. Almost down low to the bottom they went, and that could have very easily have been another caution that had flown itself out, but it's patience now at the front of the field. Half a second to the good for Deegan Smith, who has not been away from the front all the time. Calabro now, as there's a little clip of the wall from Yurik there, a little bit of a love tap there, as 4th position now looks like it's about to open. Calabro down low searching.
Just smacking that wall, you're going to lose your momentum, and I think Yurik discovered that, but he fights back, and he will hold on to the spot. You were talking about Sylvia on those fresh tires. Well, look at this. Another one potentially gone. Keegan Bush, who we know is no slouch, he is going to have to maybe give this one up, but he'll fight it with every inch of himself.
Well, we know how good Bush is on the outside, and he's got not much more to fight with, just enough room being given, and he'll slip on through, will Sylvia, and he will take that 6th place away. He's got to get onto this group because it's really piling up, and Smith has lost the race lead. He's dropped 2 places.
Something major must have happened there. Beatty is into the lead. Stefane now into 2nd. Yurik even going to be able to take 3rd.
I think he just struggled off of 4. I think that's just it. It's Deegan Smith struggling at the moment as he falls back into 4th position. Is this the moment where Deegan Smith's looking around at staying out the entire way and realizing, oh, hang on a minute, I've got nothing left?
And I went back and checked. He hit the apron in 1 and 2. That put him offline. Casey said, now's my chance. He grabbed it with both hands. Now he's the leader. But Bradley Stefane is going to be eager to try and snatch this one away.
And after what's been a rough season for Bradley Stefane, this would be so sweet if he can find a way through. Down low, searching with 12. Can't quite get there. And don't count Sylvia out. He's now on the back of Calabro, looking for a way to get up to 5th, as now it's Smith sliding out to the corner. Now they're going to almost make contact. There goes Deegan Smith. He'll go around and we'll get a caution, will we? No, we stay green. No, there's the caution.
Took him a little bit. I think they were waiting to see if he could catch that thing, but the 15 wound up getting turned, and the Calabro could not stay out of him. Behind them, a checkup there for Keegan Bush almost caused a secondary incident.
Yeah, that could have been doubly difficult out there, but this is the key. Deegan Smith has to attack. It's late. He gets pinched low. He slides out the corner, realizes he's loose, takes the tiniest of taps, so he has one little spin as he goes through, and that was enough to throw it there. And oh, someone getting dumped there in the background. That was a heavy hit. I think it was Jake Grout there who took a huge hit into the wall.
Yeah, that was after the yellow came out. Everybody slowing up. They were 3 wide, and I think didn't realize it in the moment. So poor Jake gets turned into the wall. Terjak was disqualified, though.
That would be
interesting.
I reckon that'll be why it's wrecking under caution. They do not take a blind eye to that, so that would be why, and that would be the heavy hit. So we'll take another look at it here from Terjak, who had had an amazing run up to that point. A little bit of side-by-side as he ran through. We will be going green this next time by, so very quickly, there's the look. He goes around, 74 down low, and he just spun it up too much.
Looks like they are getting ready to restart here with only 6 laps to go, as it is Bradley Stefane on the front with Casey Beatty. Green flag is out. They'll accelerate away. Look to the inside from Sean Yurik. He's also a dark horse that has suddenly come to the fore right at the end.
Well, that was brilliant there from Beatty. He absolutely caught it out. Quick caution.
Ooh, and up on his lid, the
Grout
49.
Again.
Wow, Grout's been having a miserable end to this race. The car keeps going amazingly. How did he get upside down?
Well, firstly, how did he get upside down? Secondly, how did he right himself? There's the hit. He gets caught up on the outside shelving, and there's a reason why it's called 33 degrees of banking there, Joe. It just tipped him.
Yeah, just too much. We'll get one more angle, then we've got to take a quick break here as we see him, just up into the wall and the tires climbed it. So we'll be back after this. We'll come back with the finale here at Slinger.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back for a green-white checkers here at Slinger Speedway. This is going to be intense. Can they get to the finish under green? And what's it going to look like as it is Casey Beattie versus Sean Urich versus Stefan, and of course, Jake Sylvia in there as we wait for the green flag. They're not going to give it this time around. So looks like we'll try and set them up. Yeah, we're now getting word from race control. They are going this time. I'd say the top four all have a shot here, Jake.
Sylvia especially. I think that if he can get one, I think he's going to be an absolute rocket ship, but it's going to be all about this run right here, right now.
Oh, maybe not this time. Still waiting for the call. Here we go. This time it looks like we are for sure ready to get racing. 2 laps to finish this. Green flag is out. The 45 underway. Monstrous jump from him. He played that to perfection. Oh, elbowed out of the way. Sylvia gets pushed up high by Stefan. We come to the white flag. 1 to go. We are going to the finish. Casey has the top spot. Sean Urich is a little too far back for anything here. It'll take a Hail Mary. He can't send it in time. Casey Beattie has come back for the win here at Slinger. Unbelievable.
That is about timing. He started 15th today in this race, and who said you can't overtake and make places when it comes to late model racing? He played the field absolutely perfectly, and when the chips were down, right place, right time, he's got one of the Triple Crown in his back pocket.
Oh, I'm sure this one is special to be able to win here. As I was going to say, he could almost donut right into victory lane there, that little banner that they've got. Let's see if he can time it out right as he celebrates and burns it down. There he goes, down into the photographer, and just about makes it. Just has to do a little bit of a 3-point turn to wrap it up. We'll take a quick break to wrap it up. We'll be back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Slinger Speedway. I think we got the race we pretty much expected out of this one, but it was entertaining to say the least. And we saw some great racing out there. And Casey Beatty wound up your winner here today. Sean Urich was second, and Bradley Stefane rounds out the podium. Deegan Smith was fourth out there, followed by Jake Sylvia, who was P5. Keegan Bush, who just was a driver that would not die, wound up in sixth. Alex Hallinar squeaked into this thing and then got a seventh place. Not too shabby. Tyler Mueller, eighth. Alex Kogan in his first try will come home ninth, and Jake Grout on the lead lap in 10th.
And then you can see a little bit further down, Calabro, who had penalties. Rychecki as well had to serve a penalty in the final stage of the race, which dropped him down the order. Michael Weissman, Jared Schell. All these drivers right now behind Jared Schell are retirees, including Carl Adams, who got into it a lot. So too did William Littergott. Brett McCoy was pretty much the pillar post in the early stages. Everyone took out their aggression on him. Carl Terjak taking a disqualification, and then you got Jaden Dahlberg, and then right down at the bottom there, not the race that he was hoping for. But quite simply put, you had to be right place, right time in this sort of race. It's all about momentum. Finding the right momentum was found by those three drivers who each started outside of the top 10 here today, Joe.
Well, it looks like one of the drivers that started outside of the top 10 finished third, and that, of course, is Bradley Stefane. And he took a third place without taking the spare car, one of only three drivers to manage that today. Brad, how did you keep the thing not only a good enough condition to not need that spare car, but fast enough to finish third?
I have no idea. I'm at a loss for words, too.
It certainly looked like it was going to get tense down there at the end. When we got that green-white checkers, what was going through your head? Did you think, I could maybe sneak this win, or did you just want to try and bring it home and see the checkered flag?
I knew I had speed, but I didn't think I was the fastest out there. I just wanted to hang on. Let's just see if we can get lucky. Sure enough, we did. But, yeah, I had no intentions of trying to get past. We'd probably crash or something,
The first quarter miler that we've got of this paved side of oval racing here on iRacing. What are your thoughts now, having to do a 200 lap feature at this circuit?
Well, actually, this is my home track. I live about 45 minutes away from here, so I've raced here once in real life in 4 cylinders, and it's a fun place. Love this track.
Well, congratulations on taking a podium here. I'm sure that's going to make it extra special being local. Who do you have to thank to get to celebrate tonight?
I just want to thank you guys for the broadcast, Hanksters Motorsports, and RKM Setup Shop. That'd be about it.
All right, that was Bradley Stefane finishing third in the number 89 machine after starting 11th. From 19th to 2nd, though, Sean Urich. That was an impressive one there, Jake. I believe you've caught up to him.
I believe I absolutely have. And simply put, a sensational run. Sean Urich here with us now. Sean, 19th starting often is found, especially at a short track like this where it's very difficult. You sort of got to get your elbows out to make the moves. The moves are going to be hard to come by, but it seemed like every time there was a caution, you're a little place up here, a little place up there. And by the time you got to the final couple cautions there, you're right up at the front.
Yeah, I got to thank... First off, I got to thank a couple people, Mike Weissman, Jared Schell. They all helped me with setup throughout the race, well, before the race. I feel like that heat race, I was just more focusing on different setup changes, and I knew at one point I would have to make some change. So I ran a different setup in the heat race. Didn't go well, so I started towards the back, but really just tried to avoid wrecks. Got caught up in an early one, but didn't really get much damage. I got caught up in one with the 47, but I was the only car lap down at the time, so I got the wave around immediately on the next yellow, and then the rest of the race I was just very careful, trying to avoid making contact with other drivers, but working my way slowly up.
Now, you're in the Triple Crown here. Everybody's looking to try and get the best results they possibly can off of these 3 races that are coming up. As your sort of first look into that, how much of you really trying to push, really trying to get in the right place at the right time? How much are you looking at these 3 races and going, well, I'm going to prioritize consistency over maybe the end result, and you're getting rewarded for it?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Consistency is probably the best thing for any of these little point series, because if you think about it, if you're not consistent, if I finish like 20th next week, it will screw up the points for me. But if I finish like even 5th, any position in the top 10, I'll be fine.
Well, position is going to be important. It's Bristol next time out. For you, it's a case of you just supersize this a little bit more, I suppose. How are you feeling about Bristol Motor Speedway?
I'm pretty confident in Bristol. I mean, the only things I'm really looking at is setup. It's definitely a really strange track to set up for, and I know tire wear is a little different there compared to this track, but it will definitely be a fun track. Never really run here in a late model stock, so it will be interesting.
It certainly will. Well, alas, Sean Urich, it's P2, and you know the podium very well.
Thank you.
Well, on top of that, Sean, I believe you got a couple sponsors as well.
Yes, Sunny Side Up Cafe, New Berlin, Jolly Good Soda, Victory Fuel, Automatic Entrances of Wisconsin, Sign Design Co., School Service Inc., Accurate Stamp Co., Sean York Racing, Sparky Motorsports. All of these people help make this possible.
Well, a lot going behind the scenes there to get Sean Urich exactly what he wants. He gets a P2 out of things, which just leaves only one, Joe. And that, of course, your race winner here today from 15th on the grid.
Yeah, Casey Beattie taking the victory as we chat with the number 45. Incredible run to take the win. There were some drivers that were up at the front for the most of this thing, and we didn't really see you up there until the very end. Was that just a happy accident, or were you actually trying to bide your time?
It was kind of a happy accident and biding my time together. I started like 15th and was up to like 7th, 8th early, just trying to ride inside that top 5 to 10 range, and drove down to 3, and a couple guys got together and I got caught up in it, so had to pit for repairs and because the car was junk, and kind of just pushed a little more than I thought driving up through the field, but it kind of played in my favor with the yellows, and unfortunate stuff happened to other people. Rather be lucky than good any day of the week, but and then at the end, those cautions kind of help with Deegan and Kyle, and the whole mess happened, and it kind of just played in my favor.
Well, the other 2 guys on the podium were both Midwesterners, with this being a Midwest track. You hail from New England, which has its own rich history of short track racing. Do you feel like there's much difference between the way the Midwest races these short tracks and the way you guys do up in the Northeast?
Not much. I mean, there's obviously a little difference in tendencies from people out there and people back here. But all together, racing's just racing. In reality, how much can it truly change from no matter where you go?
That's a good point. And speaking of where we truly go, we're truly going to Bristol, which is going to be just doubled in size. Do you see yourself faring well there?
Yeah, no, Bristol's definitely one of my better tracks. Haven't ran there much in the late model stock, but I'm looking forward to going there and seeing what I got against these guys.
Well, we look forward to seeing your race. Hopefully you can repeat the heroics that we saw here. Congratulations. And is there anybody you want to thank for today's victory?
You guys at Podium Esports for broadcasting this. All the guys at MRL, Jake Grout Racing, 17 Media, Alex Gratz. Once he had his misfortune, he hopped on the stand for me and was coaching me through the whole race. RKM Setup Shop, those guys they build awesome setups. Wouldn't have been able to get this win without them. RG Goslin, Creative Counters, Polson Lumber. That's about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Casey. That was our winner in the number 45 machine here for the first of the Triple Crown in the postseason. Certainly gave us some thrills as we'll then head off to close. But before I go, Jake, both of our first times calling races. I don't know about you. I can't wait to get back.
I tell you what, this just goes to show how tough of a circuit this is. You do need to be patient here and get as much as you can. But from the world's fastest quarter mile to the world's fastest half mile, we're going to get over to Bristol Motor Speedway March 2nd, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's the middle round of the Triple Crown. And if everything was being said on what you do when you've got everything short, well, let's just speed it up a little bit, make it a little bit longer. I tell you what, this is probably the biggest stadium race out there on the calendar, barring only one being Martinsville, which ends the season.
Yeah, they picked doozies to end this one with, that is for sure. So join us for that next week. But a big thank you in the meantime to my co-host here, Jake Sperry, along with DJ behind the scenes. And until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.